Welcome to the third lecture of the course ARC 494 is Ecology and Sustainable Development, and today's lecture is about environment and earth system. This is under the topic of environment and ecology. The content we will cover is 5, and today is the second topic where we are talking about. Later on we'll talk about ecology and ecosystem services, structure and function of ecosystem, and carrying capacity of natural resources. So definition of environment. Mostly we define environment based on our experience and circumstances, how we see our surroundings. But in the literature, environment is defined as an aggregation of all external factors or conditions that influence the activities and existence of all living beings, including human. In the other hand, environment can be coined as the interaction within and among physical, living, and human world in our surroundings. So here is the most tricky part: how we are defining our surroundings. Surrounding can be a certain distance. Surrounding can be a room where we live in. Surrounding can be a building, a city, even a district or division. Surrounding can be a country, even a planet. So based on the circumstances, based on the need of the society, based on the work we do, we define our surroundings. And this is how we build our environment. Components of environment is threefold. We will talk about this biotic component, abiotic component, and there is a third component, which is the human world or social component. Mostly in different literatures, there are biotic, which is a biological component or living world is discussed, and the second one is the abiotic or the physical and physical one. These two is mostly discussed components of the environment. So physical world consists of non-living objects and the processes. Non-living objects, for example, rocks, soil, cloud, air, and the processes is, for example, evaporation, season, weather, and climate. Whenever we talk about biotic components, it's about all the living things and the life processes. Living things is consisting of millions of species of plants, animals, fungus, and bacteria, and life processes includes feeding, reproduction, respiration, and photosynthesis. The third important factor, which is not well discussed in different disciplines, but in our discipline, in architecture, it is important to understand this third component. We call it human world or social world. It is consists of all things that human make, do, and believe. That means the science we believe, the art we make, the religion we believe in, and the literature we choose is based on our cultural norms, based on our aspirations and the values we carry within our society. So this is how three different components in the environment interact among and within themselves to create their own surrounding. So the question would be, do these three worlds exist in total isolation from one another? Definitely not. Definitely not. It interacts in between. Whenever we inhale air, we are interacting with physical world. Whenever we eat food, we choose food, we see plants. These are the thing belongs to the living world or biotic factor. But the process we choose food, the process we decide for something is part of our human world or the living world. So they cannot be isolated. They interact among each other. They mingle and they interdependent and they create a wave. So the Earth system is defined as a complex system, consists of different components, mostly lithosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biota. In easy words, atmosphere part of air we inhale, and hydrosphere is water. Then geosphere, that is land. Mostly we call them lithosphere. And the life, which is biota, this is part of the Earth system. If we go a little bit deeper, there is a centrosphere in the core of the Earth system, and then we find lithosphere. Then we have this hydrosphere. Is just lithosphere is the crust of the Earth's surface. Then above the crust there is a hydrosphere, and beyond hydrosphere we have this atmosphere, and the nearest atmospheric layer we have is called the troposphere. Then we have stratosphere, mesosphere, and ionosphere. Let's little bit go beyond in detail about centrosphere. Centrosphere, basically the molten mass. It sometimes we experience it surfaces as a lava through the volcanic eruptions and sometimes fault of the earth crust. So the molten mass of the center is called the centrosphere. There is a lithosphere, which is the solid crust on which rest the continental masses comprising of mountains, valleys, and plains. There is where human beings and other terrestrial animals lives. The soil covering the solid masses in most cases is fertile enough to support plant life, and an innate natural state is covered with vegetation. Then talking about hydrosphere is, as we know, is the 97% of percent water were kept in the seas, and the fresh water is only 1 or less than 1%. But most important part is all the life supporting processes of this earth system are heavily dependent on water. So this is where the importance lies. Atmosphere is the gaseous mantle enveloping the earth. The main constituents are nitrogen and oxygen. The rest 1% mostly argons, carbon dioxide, and some other traces. Then we can divide the atmosphere as troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere, and finally the biota is the all living organism, including flora and fauna. So after knowing the earth system, now we would like to know a bit or discuss a bit about the interdependent system, how all the earth system are elements of earth systems are coexisting, how they're exchanging things, how they are making a system within a system, and how they're maintaining a life within their system. So, for example, we have atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere is created, which we call the biota. And each of the components are actually has their own exchange relationships. In the center, you see this pedosphere. Is pedo means soil, so the soil surfaces is called the pedosphere. So let's see about how hydrosphere is dependent with atmosphere. Hydrosphere is giving evaporation to the atmosphere, and atmosphere is giving back the precipitation. That is what we know. Then the relationship between hydrosphere and lithosphere is giving surface runoff and seepage. That means whenever there is a rain comes to the earth, or precipitation is happening, then there is a surface runoff, and this surface runoff goes to the hydrosphere, and hydrosphere is giving groundwater recharge to the lithosphere. Lithosphere is giving elemental uptake. That means all the nutrients taken by the trees and plants to the biosphere, and biosphere is giving back the rock weathering system. That means there are small particles in the weather, and these small particles can be harnessed through leaves of trees, and it helps to stabilize the soil. So as the soil formation is somehow related to this rock weathering process, so it is also part of this lithosphere and pedosphere. So biosphere and atmosphere is also interdependent. Biosphere is giving photosynthesis, and the biosphere is taking help from the atmosphere in terms of photosynthesis, and biosphere is giving back the respiration to the atmosphere. So a little bit about pedosphere and hydrosphere relationship is, hydrosphere is giving soil water to pedosphere. That means to moisturize the soil, and pedosphere is giving back evaporation to hydrosphere. And a lithosphere is giving soil formation to pedosphere and getting leaching from the pedosphere. Biosphere is giving soil flora and fauna and taking back elemental cycles. This is how they are interrelated and forming a system, and they coexist, exchange, and interdependent. And this is how they support life. Thank you so much.